Hello YouTube and welcome back. This is Nico and you're watching Dare to Game. Today we're doing something a little bit different and I was thinking about stuff, I was doing research and I was reading up on games and I remembered that I've played all the Assassin's Creed games. At least I think I've played them all. It's hard for me to remember because I've been playing them for a while and there's so many of them. But it reminded me that a new one's coming out, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's going to be taking place in Greece, and as far as I can tell, it's not going to have anything to do with assassins. So that's interesting, an Assassin's Creed game without assassins. But it got me thinking, you know, not all of them are good, but some of them are really good, and at least at the time I enjoyed most of them. So this will be my official ranking for the... I picked the 10. I know that there's some smaller ones and, you know, other stuff, some DLCs that are almost game-sized, at least by some companies' standards. But I just did basically the top 10, and I'm going to rank them here for you. So, we're going to start it off at number 10 with Assassin's Creed 3. Now, I did not like this game. Obviously, it being the worst out of the ones that I'm ranking, but I just didn't like it at all. As an American, I was excited for an Assassin's Creed set here in America, especially one right around revolutionary times. It had a very promising storyline, but that being said, the storyline was really boring, and the gameplay sucked. There was a ton of bugs. It felt really laggy. I just wasn't a fan of it. So overall, I got to give this one a worst Assassin's Creed ever ranking. Next up at number 9, we had Assassin's Creed Unity. Now this one was basically, I can't remember who it was, but I remember someone describing it as Les Mis the video game. But I think that's not fair to Les Mis because this was really bad. It was buggy, the story didn't make any sense, the protagonists' motives were confusing, to say the least. Starts off, spoiler alert here, starts off with his dad dying, gets adopted by another guy, and then I think he ends up dying, and it wasn't very good. I finished it, but then I stopped. I didn't, do any more side stuff. The most important, not important, but the most interesting stuff had to do with Napoleon, and he was barely in it. So yeah, Assassin's Creed Unity takes the number 9 spot. Next up for number 8, we have Assassin's Creed Revelations. Now this is a game that I enjoyed a lot at the time, but upon replaying it recently, I just realized I didn't like it that much. It's not so much the graphics or the gameplay, because they were dated, but it wasn't so much that, because I can see past that. It was more that it was just, I think when I played it at the time, it was mostly I liked it because of how much I liked the Assassin's Creed games before it, and how much I was invested in the character. But past that, it wasn't all that groundbreaking a game. Didn't really introduce much. The storyline wasn't anything to, look twice at, unlike that branch. Just not all that great of a game. Next up at number 7, we have Syndicate. Now this one bugs me a bit because I wanted to like Syndicate. After Unity, Ubisoft was like, we're going to do better next time. We're going to make a good game. And it seemed so promising. You could work with gangs and build an underground and do all this sort of stuff, but it comes out and I'll give them this, it wasn't as buggy as Unity, but it was still kind of buggy, and I couldn't get into it. Maybe it was bouncing back and forth between the two assassins, I don't know. In my opinion, I wasn't a huge fan of it. So with that in mind, that took the number 7 spot. Next up at number 6, we have Assassin's Creed 2. Now this is a pretty good game, I gotta give it to this one. I enjoyed Assassin's Creed 2. Just a lot of stuff. The scenery is beautiful, the attention to detail in the cities was awesome, especially for the time, and everyone I knew played it. That was another thing. Assassin's Creed was still really popular back then. So everyone I knew that gamed was definitely playing Assassin's Creed 2 just as much as I was. Next up, at number 5, we have Assassin's Creed Rogue. Now, this one was a good game. I enjoyed it, and there's just a couple reasons it isn't ranked higher, because it was a good game, a lot of fun gameplay in it. One of which being, for some reason, even though it was released after Black Flag, it was not released for the PS4 or Xbox One. It was just on PS3 and Xbox 360, even though Black Flag wasn't. So that kind of bugged me. Wasn't a fan of that because I was already playing on the PS2 the PS4 by that point. And another thing that I wasn't a fan of was how it didn't really innovate at all. It didn't break the mold from Black Flag. It wasn't anything special. In fact, it was a little bit more generic than Black Flag was. So, Rogue, although it was fun to play at the time, just didn't do it for me as much as previous games did. So, yeah, Rogue takes the number 5 spot. Alright, so taking us at number 4, we have Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Now, while there were definitely better games in the series than Brotherhood. I really liked Brotherhood. It was a lot of fun, you know. If I remember correctly, the multiplayer was well balanced. There was the drop-in play, if I'm remembering it correctly. It's been a while since I played it, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was cool to be able to do all the cool assassin-y stuff, you know, and have all my friends see it. You know, have all my friends join in sometimes. So I greatly enjoyed that game. It's up there. Obviously, in my ranking, it makes sense. You know, I don't need to justify it much more than that. So, yeah, that's the number 4 spot. So next up at number 3, we have Assassin's Creed 1, or just Assassin's Creed. This being, of course, the first Assassin's Creed. I love this game. It was a fantastic game. And obviously, it was very popular because it spawned a very popular franchise that's gone on for a long time. But Assassin's Creed 1 was so groundbreaking at the time, for a lot of reasons. Now, obviously, it wasn't the first violent video game, but it was, you know, there wasn't a lot of competition for that style of video game. If you were playing medieval games, they were usually RPGs. They were focused around, you know, stuff that I enjoy. Don't get me wrong, I love RPGs, but they weren't as popular with the mainstream culture, the mainstream gamers. You know, they were more for your fringe, kind of nerdy people. But Assassin's Creed broke that mold and interested a lot of people, you know, got a lot more people interested in period pieces for video games. So I really enjoy, it's got a good spot in my heart. Then at number 2, we have Origins. Now, I loved Origins. It was completely different for Assassin's Creed. They finally innovated. They finally made a change. And a lot of people didn't like it because it basically wasn't an Assassin's Creed game. But with all that in mind, I loved it. I thought it was great. I loved the RPG elements. I loved the free-flowing combat. The world was huge. I loved how it wasn't overly cluttered. They changed a lot of the different systems. It was just a really fun game. So that takes number 2. And the only reason it didn't take number 1 is because of Black Flag, which is my number 1 Assassin's Creed game of all time, at least up till this point. I love the golden age of piracy. I think it's a crime that we don't have a proper RPG centered solely around that with a lot of the same mechanics as Black Flag, but, you know, in my opinion, the only thing that holds back Black Flag is the Assassin's Creed part, which is as funny as it sounds for a ranking of Assassin's Creed games, that one taking number 1. The pirate parts of that game, the parts with the ship combat and all of that sort of stuff, and even the storyline elements with Blackbeard were the best parts of that game. I've replayed Black Flag easily 10 times because it was just so good and so much fun. Even at the end of the game, when you've got your ship maxed out and you're sailing around, all that sort of stuff, just destroying ships, you know, it just never gets boring for me. I love it. It's so much fun. Obviously, it could have been improved upon with more RPG elements, like at the beginning when you get your ship, if you were able to pick which type of ship you did, you know, obviously have each ship have benefits and all that sort of stuff. Stuff like that would have made it better, but it was already so good. So that's my number 1. We'll have to see after I play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I'm sure I'll play at some point. I might change the list, but for now, that's what it is. Well, that's another video in the books. I hope you liked it. If you did, smash that like button, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to put some links on the screen here to help you subscribe and maybe see another video. But in any case, thanks for watching, and have a nice day. See you next time.